Hello, everyone, and welcome to Behind the Bulletin. Tonight, we bring you a story so electrifying, so completely unexpected, that it has sent shockwaves racing across the entire nation. The headline alone has every news outlet scrambling for answers. Breaking tonight. Kim Woo-bin and Shin Min-ah's secret Seoul wedding stuns the entire nation. What happened behind those closed doors in Seoul? How did the industry's most beloved couple manage to pull off a ceremony this confidential, this flawlessly hidden, until the very last moment? And what truths are now spilling into the spotlight as the secret finally unravels? Stay with us, because what you're about to discover will shake the night. Let's dive in right now. It began with a single anonymous message posted at 4:12 p.m. A message so cryptic yet so unnervingly confident that it triggered immediate chaos across every major Korean community. If you're in Seoul tonight, look toward Bukchon. Something unbelievable is happening. At first, no one paid attention. Rumors come and go, especially when it involves Kim Woo-bin and Shin Min-ah, Shin's golden couple whose decade-long relationship had survived illness, career breaks, and an endless storm of speculation. But within minutes, the message was followed by a blurry photo, one unmistakable figure stepping out of a black van near a secluded Hanok estate known only for hosting high-level private ceremonies. It was Kim Woo-bin. The image alone ignited the first explosion online. His posture was tense, his head slightly bowed, as if he were intentionally avoiding the winter wind or the weight of what he was about to do. Reporters rushed instantly to the scene, but the road leading toward the estate was blocked by unmarked security vehicles. Something was happening. Something big. Something no one, not even the most seasoned insiders, had predicted. By 5 p.m., Seoul's temperature dropped sharply, and with it came a second shockwave. Witnesses reported spotting Shin Min-ah entering the same district wearing a soft ivory coat, her face partially concealed beneath a scarf. She wasn't smiling. She wasn't posing. She moved with purpose, accompanied by two staff members who held what looked suspiciously like a garment bag, long, white, delicate, the kind meant for only one occasion. Associated with vows whispered behind closed doors. Social media erupted instantly. Fans begged for confirmation, denial, anything to stop their hearts from pounding. Journalists scrambled to piece together timelines. Photographers sprinted through narrow Bukchon alleyways, slipping on patches of ice in desperate attempts to catch a glimpse. Yet every entrance was heavily guarded. Phones were confiscated. No one could see inside. The secrecy was absolute, suffocating. Too perfect to be coincidence. The tension deepened when a convoy of unfamiliar luxury cars quietly pulled up to the estate. These were not ordinary vehicles, they belonged to CEOs, foreign actors, industry giants. A legendary director was seen exiting one of them, followed by a senior figure from a major entertainment agency known for advising on high-profile unions. But the moment that turned panic into full-blown hysteria came at 5:47 p.m. A small team carrying traditional ceremonial trays entered the estate. Their movements precise, rehearsed, urgent. That was when the nation realized, this wasn't a rehearsal. This wasn't a rumor. It's happening now, tonight, in absolute secrecy. As night fell, the estate lit up with warm golden lanterns, each one glowing like a silent witness to history in the making. Snow drifted softly onto the wooden rooftops as if nature itself wished to be gentle for this moment. From a distance, faint music could be heard, a live ensemble, echoing through the winter air. The scene looked almost unreal, like a hidden chapter of a fairy tale accidentally unfolding in real life. But beneath the beauty lay tension thick enough to choke the night. Kim Woo-bin emerged once more near the entrance, his breath visibly shaking in the icy air. He wasn't the confident actor fans were used to seeing on screen. He looked human, overwhelmed, emotional, perhaps even afraid. The weight of the moment pressed into his shoulders. He stood tall, inhaling deeply, as if grounding himself before stepping into an irreversible future. Inside the estate, whispers traveled from room to room. Staff members moved quickly, adjusting floral arrangements, finalizing seating that was limited to only the closest circle of the couple's lives. Phones were banned. Those were covered. Contracts had been signed days earlier under absolute confidentiality. And still, somehow, truth had slipped out just hours before the ceremony began, turning a secret wedding into the biggest breaking event of the year. At exactly 6:22 p.m., Multiple witnesses said they heard the doors to the main hall slide open. A hush fell over everyone outside. Turned. Cameras aimed. But no one could see inside, only the silhouette of Wu Bin stepping forward. Shoulders straightening as if he had finally gathered every piece of courage he had left. Then came the softest shift in light. Delicate shadow moving beside him. It was her. Shin Min. Her presence, even unseen, sent waves of electricity through the air. The world outside the estate froze. Breath held in collective anticipation. They had weathered years of hardship together. Rebuilt their lives. Walked through storms most couples would crumble under. And now, in a hushed winter ceremony hidden from the world, they were about to seal a chapter 10 years in the making. Right as the ceremony was believed to have begun, commotion erupted at the far edge of the estate. A door slammed. A staff member ran toward the back entrance. Voice was heard arguing in a low, urgent tone. Something was wrong. Something unexpected. Something the couple had not planned for. And in that instant, story transformed from a beautiful secret wedding into something far more shocking. The sound echoed through the courtyard, a sharp, heavy thud followed by hurried footsteps, and instantly the air around the estate shifted. Reporters standing far beyond the gates felt the tension before they understood it. Something was unfolding inside. Something that did not belong in a wedding night. A few staff members exchanged glances, their faces tight with fear rather than celebration. The ceremony had not even begun. Yet the first crack in the perfect secret had appeared. Inside the hanok hall, where soft lanterns flickered against wooden beams, Kim Woo Bin stood frozen. Just moments earlier, he had been preparing himself to walk toward Shin Min, who waited quietly behind a thin partition. Gown brushing the floor like falling snow. She had been calm, serene even. Hands clasped together as if she were finally breathing after years of holding everything in. But when the disturbance erupted outside, that serenity vanished. A trembling awareness crept into her expression, a quiet question only Wu Bin could understand. He stepped toward the entrance, instincts sharp. But before he reached the door, it opened violently. A man stumbled in, escorted by two security guards who struggled to restrain him. Voice cracked with desperation. The kind that cuts through even the thickest walls of secrecy. "You can't do this," he shouted. Breathless, devastated. "You can't let this wedding happen." They erupted instantly among the few guests inside. Wu Bin's eyes narrowed with shock, confusion. Something darker, recognition. Because he knew this man. Not well. Not personally. But he had seen him before. The reason he recognized him was the very reason everyone in the hall suddenly felt the floor shift beneath their feet. The man was Shin Min-a's estranged older cousin, someone tied to a family conflict buried for years. Someone known for his unpredictable behavior and complicated history. Someone who had been deliberately excluded from the guest list for reasons no one wanted to talk about tonight. Min-a's face drained of color as the man turned toward her, tears streaming down his cheeks. "You deserve the truth before you sign your life away." Cried, voice trembling. "You deserve to know what your family hid from you, what they hid from him." A breathless silence fell over the hall. Min-a's mother tried to intervene, stepping forward, whispering sharply for security to remove him. It was too late. The storm had already begun. The cousin shook off the guards for a moment, staring directly at Wu Bin with an intensity that made the entire room feel colder. "Your health," he said, voice cracking. "Recovery." She never knew the whole story. She never knew the reason you disappeared for months. She never knew what her family asked of you. Wu Bin stiffened. Min-a whispered his name, barely audible. The cousin inhaled shakily and delivered a blow. "They made him choose, his treatment or you. Her family threatened to end the relationship publicly, to destroy his image. Yes, he stayed away while he fought for his life. You think he left you because he had no strength? Because he didn't care? No. He left because he was forced to. He left because he tried to protect you." All erupted. Guests gasped. A few cried out. Min-a stood paralyzed, truth hitting her with the force of a decade-old wound ripping open. Wu Bin's jaw clenched, a flicker of raw pain flashing across his face. He had carried that secret alone, believing it would spare her. He had buried it so deeply that even tonight, even moments away from promising her forever, had planned to take it to the grave. Because love, he thought, did not require reopening scars. But now, The truth bled out under blazing lights and trembling lanterns. Min-A's eyes filled with tears, not of betrayal, but of anguish. She took a step toward him, her voice barely steady. "Is it true?" she asked, her breath visible in the cold air. "All those nights, all those months, you suffered alone because of my family." He lowered his gaze, shoulders heavy, unable to lie. "I didn't want you to carry that burden. You had already carried enough because of me." Her tears fell. The hall held its breath. For the collapse, the rupture, the dramatic undoing of the wedding everyone had been whispering about for years. In the space between her sobs and his silence, something unexpected happened. She reached out, slowly, and took his hand. "You should have told me," she whispered. "But you never stopped protecting me. Even when it cost you everything." Her voice cracked, but her grip tightened. "We finished this together." Gasps rippled through the hall. The cousins stared in disbelief, unable to understand how truth had not shattered them but instead welded them stronger. Security gently led him outside, his cries fading into the cold night as the door slid shut again. Inside, Wu Bin stood motionless as Min-Ah stepped closer, wiping her tears with a fragile smile that carried both pain and forgiveness. "We've survived worse," she whispered. "Tonight, we begin again. Without secrets." The ceremony resumed, quiet but charged with a raw, trembling emotion deeper than any scripted romance. When Wu Bin finally lifted her veil, the world outside erupted with speculation. Inside the Hanok, there was only one truth left standing: they had been broken, separated, threatened, and tested, but still, they chose each other. By the end of the night, Seoul buzzed with disbelief, shock, and as the news broke officially, Kim Woo Bin and Shin Min-Ah were now husband and wife. Not because the world approved, not because their families were perfect, because their love had survived a past powerful enough to destroy lesser hearts. And so, on a frozen winter night hidden behind wooden walls and paper lanterns, they rewrote their ending, not with perfection, but with truth. In the end, what unfolded inside that secluded Seoul Hanok was more than a secret ceremony. It was a reckoning, an unmasking of truth, pain, sacrifice, and the kind of love that survives even the harshest winters. Wu Bin and Shin Min-Ah did not walk into their marriage as flawless icons, but as two people who had endured storms that could have easily torn them apart. Their vows weren't born from fairy tale perfection. From scars, from resilience, from the decision to stand together despite everything that once tried to pull them away. As the final lanterns dimmed and the last whispers faded into the cold night air, one thing became undeniable: their union wasn't shocking because it was sudden. It was shocking because it was real, too raw, too honest in a world that prefers polished fantasies. And that authenticity, revealed under the weight of unexpected truth, is what left an entire nation breathless. Thank you for staying with us through this emotional and unforgettable journey. Thank you for reading every moment, every twist, every heartbeat of this story. And thank you for joining Behind the Bulletin. We uncover the hidden chapters behind Korea's most extraordinary events. We'll see you in the next story.